a virtual talk show that will enlighten you about globalization. Good day, viewers and listeners. I am Cyril Kate A. Infante, your host here at Globe Talk. Globalization is impacting the lives of many. Is it a good thing or a threat? Why do we need to trade abroad or to other countries? What should be done to protect our local markets without compromising our countries in participating to free trade? These are some questions that we'll answer by our guest today. And speaking of guests, please welcome Miss Jesus Amayo, Miss Cristel Ivy Jane Ganal, Miss Mikey Reyes, Miss Jacqueline Daquel, Miss Sherry Ann Esmelia, and Mr. R. James Domingo. So, let's get straight to introductions. We all know that globalization is the process of international integration arising from the interchange of worldviews, products, ideas, and culture. Advances in transportation, telecommunication, infrastructure, including the rise of internet, are major factors in globalization. Ms. Jesus Amayo from B.Ed 1C, is globalization an advantage or a threat?
Thank you, Miss Infante. But before anything else, I would like to thank you for inviting me here today. It is an honor to be part of this show. With the definition of globalization given by Miss Infante, I can say that globalization is an advantage, but in some cases, it is also a threat. So if you're going to ask me why globalization is a threat or advantage, let me discuss it to you. Let's begin with the reason why I consider globalization as an advantage. First, the increase of globalization will lead us for a greater economic growth. If our economy is growing, we can have a lot of access in jobs, labors, resources, and there's a tendency for our nation to be specialized. With this time of pandemic, having a job is an important matter for us to fight hunger and for us to survive from poverty. Our resources, we have plenty of raw materials here in our country, and with this, we can trade it to the different part of the world and it will help our economy to grow. Second, globalization will provide us a better services and GDP growth rate. So through this, our access to the technological services will be easier to deal with. Third, globalization may increase our global cooperation. Well, global cooperation is important for a country, especially in case of world challenges. Example of it are the wars and conflicts. Here in the Philippines, when there is a typhoon, other country helps us, and also they help us to survive from poverty. And last, the extension of markets. The extension of markets will provide the opening for domestic companies to go global. That is just some of the advantage of globalization. Now, let us proceed with the threats or disadvantage of having globalization. First in line is its cost to our environment. This includes deforestation or loss of biodiversity, like the farms or forest areas where they build a lot of infrastructures. Greenhouse gas emission, pollution brought by transportation, and some of the factories for the production of goods. Second in line is the increase of competition. Because we are in a free trade, there is a big possibility that our income will suffer because of low prices. And last, disproportionate growth. Globalization may increase the rate of unemployment since it demands high skilled work with lower prices. And that are the reason why I consider globalization as an advantage and a threat.
Why do we need to trade abroad or to other countries?
So why do we need to trade abroad or to other countries? We all know that trading abroad is already a practice in different countries, not only in the Philippines. So let me share the reasons why do we need to trade abroad. First, it can raise our living standards. If we trade abroad, we can get a higher salary and we can use it to make our businesses grow. Second, when we trade abroad, We have the chance to advertise our goods to other country and share it to them. And with that, the goods from our country will be recognized. Third, we have also a lot of workers here in our country, and when we trade abroad, they can have a better lifestyle and a better opportunity through their service. And last, to trading abroad, we are able to produce a greater variety or high quality products. And that are the some reason why do we need to trade abroad.
Miss Ganal, what is trade liberalization and what is its role in the global economy or economic globalization?
Trade liberalization is the removal or lowering of constraints or barriers to the free exchange of products between states.
What should be done to protect our local markets without compromising our country in participating to free trade?
Rather than participating in free commerce, which helps the wealthy and powerful, buy directly from producers or farmers and sell it at a modest price so that they can profit.
Mrs. Milia, how can our government ensure or what must be done in order for our product and services to be competitive or comparable with the products of other nations in economic chain? What could be the benefit of this to our national or domestic economy?
This is the first step of achieving sustainable growth and development in our market industry, which can lead to a progressive and self-efficient nation. Through this kind of support, our government should take into consideration to ensure the comparable and competitiveness of our product and services. We should continue to support and promotion of both local and national products and services, as well as continue internal and external relation must be applied and constitutionalized in order to expand our horizon to global community.
What is the role of World Trade Organization or WTO in global economy?
World Trade Organization breaks down barriers between peoples and trading economies. They lowering the trade barriers through negotiation among the members' governments. Global rules and trade provide assurance and stability. World Trade Organization agreement negotiated and signed by a large majority of the world trading economies and ratified in their parliaments. They dealing with the rules of trade between nations. It operates a global system of trade rules. It acts as a form for negotiating trade agreement. It settles trade dispute between its members and it supports the needs of developing the countries.
Ms. Dakel, what is the role of different international financial institutions in the global economy? And what are the different international financial institutions?
Good day to each and everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be part of this talk show. So, the role of different international financial institutions in global economy are supporting the private sector in developing countries by encouraging entrepreneurial initiatives that help developing countries that achieve sustainable growth, advising on development projects, funding them and assisting in their implementation. It plays a major role in the social and economic development programs of nations with developing or transitional economies. And the example of different international financial institutions are World Bank, International Finance Corporation or IFC, International Monetary Fund or IMF, World Trade Organization or WTO, New Development Bank or NDB, International Fund for Agricultural and many more. The IFIs help our country's economy by provide liquidity to the economy and permit a higher level of economic activity than would otherwise be possible. They also provide technical and advisory assistance to their borrowers and conduct extensive research on development issues Such funding is usually tied to specific projects that focus on economic and socially sustainable development.
What are the different attributes of global corporations? Are global corporations or multi-corporations, transnational corporation crucial or critical in our global economy?
It's a multinational corporation. These organizations have the ability to make decisions about what happens in our society and economy. There is no one person or group who has ultimate control over them. They have a natural tendency towards expansion and growth. It may be argued that those entities have become too large and powerful.
So, Miss Jacqueline, what are the effects of these giant companies in the Philippine economy?
Big businesses may get all the attention, but based on government statistics, the real backbone of the Philippine economy are almost a million enterprises, ranging from micro to medium. They have the ability to bankrupt or destroy almost anyone who stands in their way.
Okay, thank you, Miss Dakel. Miss Mikey Reyes, does the position of rich countries as giants in the economic change threaten the status of less developed countries in the global market?
No, the position of rich countries doesn't threaten other poor countries. Being rich countries does not underestimate other poor countries as long as we serve a global market.
Globalization made some countries, especially the developing ones, to gain more the global economic change at the expense of other nations. There are other alternative ways, however, a particular country can make the trade easier with other countries while lessening the trade inequalities. One of them is fair trade. Kindly elaborate the idea of international fair trade and how it can be achieved in the global economy.
When we say fair trade, this is a partnership which is you can have a partner in a trade. For example, when you plan to build one business, you should find a partner for fast development. We can achieve fair trade if there is other countries that we can talk to fast development business.
There were two competing economic models that sprang up around the time of Industrial Revolution as economic capital became more and more important to the production of goods. These were capitalism and socialism. So, Mr. R. James Domingo, based on your critical analysis in relation to Philippine society or economy, which of these economic system would work in our country?
Socialism is a political and economic system in which the means of production are owned by the government. The government regulates production and consumer pricing in order to best suit the demands of the people. Whereas capitalism is a form of economics in which the means of production are owned by private individuals, and the Philippines is related to capitalism type of system. An example in agriculture. Agriculture dominates the Philippine economy. It furnishes employment to about 3 million persons or about 60% of the gainly employed workers. Agriculture operation provide to 40 to 45% of the total national income and about 70 to 80% of the economy exports.
Ours is the time of information revolution. Technology has reduced the role of human labor and shifted it from a manufacturing-based economy to one that is based on service work and the production of ideas rather than goods. Computers and technologies are beginning to replace many jobs because of automation and outsourcing jobs offshore. What should be the Philippine government do to increase the competitiveness of our country's labor force within this era of information revolution?
So the research shows that technological advancements have reduced the necessity for regular automated labor while increasing demand and pay for high-skilled technical and analytical employment. One viewpoint is that technology will result in reduced work, the elimination of jobs, or the abolition of jobs by replacing workers. Another popular viewpoint is that technological advancements would increase the possibilities and enhance economies. As technological has altered the way people work, the number of jobs generated has always outpaced the number of jobs lost. So therefore, the Philippine government should create and implement employment programs to provide or promote employment opportunities for its countrymen.
World systems theory was developed by Immanuel Wallerstein, who established a three-level hierarchy: the core, periphery, and semi-periphery. Core countries are dominating capitalist countries that export labor and the raw materials from peripheral countries. Peripheral countries rely on funding from core countries and have underdeveloped industries. Semi-peripheral countries have traits from both the core and periphery. So, the connection of three are the core consists of those nations which are dominate and have dominant economy relationship with the semi-periphery and periphery. Thank you for joining with us in this virtual talk. We hope you learned a lot from watching our talk show. I am Cyril Kate Infante, your host here at Globe Talk.